This is going to be a demonstration on how to do a capsule stain. A capsule stain is a combination stain between a negative stain and a simple stain. Of course, I want to have my proper PPE, my lab coat, gloves, and goggles before I begin. I again am going to need 2 slides similar to the negative stain. So I need to sterilize my loop by incinerating it, making it nice and hot. Right? I will be holding this while I prepare my drop. For a capsule stain, I must use India ink. Nigrosin does not work. I will put a drop of India ink on my slide. And then I'm going to aseptically transfer organisms. So similar to the negative stain, I will open my plate, test my loop. I'm going to grab an isolated colony and mix it well into my dye. Incinerate my loop completely to get rid of that excess dye. I do not want it to appear in a future experiment. I need it to be completely burnt. I can set that aside. Like the negative stain, I'm going to spread. I use the short end of a slide, push it into the dye so capillary action grabs it, and then pull it across the slide with as smooth a motion as possible. This will be considered contaminated glass and be disposed of properly in the contaminated waste container. I will set it down for now. This must completely dry before I can move to the next step. But the next step is going to require a simple stain with safranin. So once this is completely dry, and this area of the slide is completely dry, and this is where I will be looking. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare this in the interest of time. I'm going to use a wooden paper clip to do a very, very light heat fix. I do not want the organisms to shrink, or it will give us a false positive on the capsule stain, because as the organisms pull away from the impression that they made with the negative stain, the India ink, it will end up looking like a halo, and we do not want this. So I'm just going to do the briefest of heat fixes to try to help get the organisms to at least stick to the slide and not wash away in this next step. And that's it. I can now put that on my staining tray, and I'm going to now flood the slide in the areas that we want to be observing with the safranin. So if there's too thick of a layer of India ink, that's not going to be helpful. So I'm going to avoid right near the very, very top of the slide, but I've flooded everything else with safranin. I'm going to wait 1 minute. When 1 minute is done, and in the interest of time, I'm going to move on. But when 1 minute is over, I'm ready to wash the slide. So I'm going to tip the excess dye off of the slide. I'm going to dip it gently into a beaker of water to get most of the dye off, and then dip it again in a cleaner beaker of water. And then I'm going to blot dry with India ink. Blot dry with bibulous paper. So I'm going to open up my book of bibulous paper, put my slide, and gently tap. And it looks good. I don't want any water left on it. And now I can observe directly on the microscope without using a cover slip. I will focus starting with the lowest magnification and move all the way up through oil immersion. Don't forget to clean up your lap station when you're done. That's it.